Dwayne from Modders Inc. And today in this episode we're going to be looking at the Enermax GraceFun mid-tower case. It is a mid-tower matte black finish with a tempered side panel to show off all your hardware. Of course you have to have the tempered panel nowadays. I mean, it's been the rage for the past couple of years, and if you don't have a case that has one, then you're just not hanging with the cool kids, I guess. But we're going to dive into this, really dissect it, and show you all the good and bad about the case. And I don't know how you guys take out a case, but I kind of probably do it a little different than everybody else. I usually open the top of the box, and then I'll actually flip the box and slide it out of the box that way. So as we can see, it's been packaged pretty well. It's got the styrofoam that's on there. It's on the top and the bottom of the case. Keep everything intact. Got a nice plastic bag over the top of it. Looks like it's probably maybe a mil thick or whatever, just enough to keep the scratches down. The styrofoam on the side actually has probably about an inch and a half of distance, keeping it away from the side of the cases. So if there is slight damage to the case, you're not going to have any damage to the actual product on the inside. Alright, so let's take the styrofoam out. Get that out of here. Take the plastic bag off. I can tell you right now this case is fairly light. It's an economical price case. We've got the Enermax GraceFun case out of the box, so let's take a quick spin around it. Yeah, I've been wanting to use this turntable for quite a while now, and now I've actually been able to use it, including a pun. So let's go ahead and do a quick spin around. I did it again. Hey, all right. So overall, quick look at it. Looks pretty nice, actually. As we can tell on the front side, it is a flat panel on the bezel with a single dry bay that you're going to be able to use. I know a lot of people are complaining like, oh, I don't have a dry bay for my DVD drive and all this other stuff. Truthfully, I can't remember the last time I even had a computer that had one in it. I guess I'm on the other side of the fence. It's like, no, I think you should take them all away. But again, that's me. But for those of you who need it, looks like it is there. You can also see on the sides that there are air intakes. Since this is a solid panel on the front, you're going to have plenty of air to come in along the sides. And it looks like also some air intake on this side of the case. Now this is the metal side of the case. I don't know if you can see it quite well or not. There is probably maybe a ½ inch that this panel is popped out, which I'm guessing is going to be for cable management and just some access and some air movement along that side. Again, you do have some air allowed on the side of that. There is going to be some air allowed on the bottom. As you can see, it's probably about an inch off the bottom, maybe 3/4 of an inch to an inch off the bottom, probably with that air intake, but we'll get into that here soon. Got your back panel, looks fairly typical. Got your thumb screws, always nice to have the thumb screws instead of having to use a screwdriver all the time. Got 7 expansion slots on the back side. Get your I/O ports right here. Now what I noticed before when I had it facing me is that this is not kind of your typical mesh on the back side of it. So what you've seen in the past is just small little tiny holes that's drilled into it to let the air pass through. Now on this one, it is different. They've actually got it like the diamond pattern. It's a lot larger holes. I'm going to say that's probably at least an 1/8 of an inch, if not more, on the holes. The other thing that I've also noticed, I don't know if you can see it or not, but this is actually punched out. So it's flat, goes out, flat, back in, and does the same thing on the other side. Now my first thought of that is that's really a great idea, because what you're doing is you're removing the metal from the back side of the fan, and you're actually creating more of an air gap and a flow through there, so you're not making a friction stop. So you're going to have an air that goes through. In a typical case where it's flat, you are going to have some restriction because it's trying to push against that metal. Now if the fan is off that metal, such as it looks like it is here, that only the corners may be kind of close, this is going to leave the gap and be able to push the air out farther. Not a bad idea. Here we are on this side, which is of course the side that we all like to look into the case at. It does have a tempered glass. It does come with a protective film. Looks like it on the inside and the outside. It's got some thumb screws that hold the glass in place, which is awesome. So you don't have to, again, use a screwdriver all the time. Probably won't be in and out of it quite a bit. You probably won't be, but that's still good. Actually pretty flush. It's probably, I'm gonna say maybe 3mm, somewhere around 4mm, probably thick. So let me go ahead and take this panel off and we'll dive deeper into the case. All right, getting to where I'm taking the last screw out. Now I did notice as I was taking this apart that there is no support on the bottom of the glass. So the glass is actually kind of hanging free on the bottom. So as you can see, it's kind of sliding back and forth a little bit. I would have liked to seen them maybe extend the plastic or some kind of piece on the bottom, because the first time, or you may forget, you're just taking the screws off. You might be taking it off and it's going to maybe slip out of place. But I would like to see something, yeah, see, like, maybe it's me, maybe it's the one that I got, but I would have maybe extended this piece right here on the foot just enough to really kind of hold on the glass. Because tempered glass, in case you don't know, is that if you were to hit it, it shatters into small pieces. That the reason for the small shattered pieces is that you don't have any straight cut pieces, so you can cut your hand or arm, or it may fall and jab into your leg. You're going to have a bunch of smaller pieces to deal with, but a lot less sharp, and you shouldn't get hurt by those. Clear, so that tells me there's probably a LED in it. Yep, there's a little blue tag on here, so it's probably a blue LED fan on the back side. It is 120mm. Also on the front side, there is a 120mm black fan that will be drawing air through the side vents on the side, and wherever else I'm guessing it can actually pull in the air from. Also, I've noticed that there is a shroud over the power supply. Nice little finish and touch on that. It really helps compartmentalize the case, keeping the power supply away so you don't drop anything in there, and plus you can hide your cables. Hide your cables a lot with that. Speaking of your cables, looks like here there's quite a few slots that you can use to run your cabling through. Also on the top of the shroud here, 1, 2, 3, you've got 6 areas to run through here. Now here is something very interesting, and I will turn it around a little bit to see if you can see it, and I will give you a few seconds to if you can point it out. Can you tell me what it is? Yeah, where's the hard drive cage at? There's no drive cage. How about that, huh? Again, kind of finely, really. I mean, most people nowadays are putting the hard drives on the back side or trying to hide them or whatnot. So you could do that with here. So if you're going to be using like a DVD drive, they do give you the mounting hardware here on the side, and of course you do get the long slots on the other side. So you're able to put at least 3 screws into that. Looks good. It sort of comes mounted with the standoffs for the motherboard, so you can put your it's ATX, mini ITX, and an ITX board that you can put in there. Yeah, so far I think a couple of the features that I've seen in there looks pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and take off this other side panel, which again, it's got the thumb screws, easy to take off. Pull it on the back. It does have the little tabs in here that slides in and out. Wasn't too bad to get it off. Fairly decent. I mounted the hardware box on the back side here. So guess where they put the hardware at? Yeah, that's where the hard drive cage is at. So they've incorporated a hard drive cage inside of the shroud for the power supply. Pretty cool, actually. I like that. 2 drives in there, so you can put 2 full-size drives or some SSD drives. Looks like the same thing up here. You can mount a couple of SSD drives. The way the whole pattern looks here, looks like you can also probably put another SSD drive back here. So you could put, realistically, 2 hard drives and 3 SSD drives in here with no problem. Cabling is already pre-routed. Does come with the Enermax Velcro strapping, which is really nice. I like these. Makes it so much easier if you want to run cabling and stuff. It's just Velcro. Let's go ahead and take a look at the bottom of the case. So as we can see, we've got the feet that are actually made out of plastic, some airflow that's going to be able to get into here, so you remember the fan that was inside. Definitely going to allow a lot of airflow inside here that's besides what's on the side. So that's at least an inch, 3/4 of an inch of air intake there. Got some air intake on the bottom for your hard drives, where the hard drive cage is at. On the bottom it looks like we have a mesh screen as well for the air intake for the power supply. It is removable. It's super fine. Let's see if we can get that out of there. Yeah, super fine mesh, so that's really great. Again, they went with larger holes on here to, they're already trying to catch the smaller particles, but whatever air does make it through there, try not to restrict it as much so it can go into the power supply and then out the back to try and keep it as cool as possible. Alright, so let's take another spin around this thing. Gonna look a little deeper into the GraceFun from Enermax. Now that they've put the hard drive cage on the lower half, you are going to have to put your power supply here, and you're going to have some small space here. So if you have about, I think it's about 180 millimeters is what you're going to have. So if you get a typical power supply and then you've got the connectors for the power supply when it pops into your modular one, it's around about 180. So you're going to see that you're going to have at least this much space to be able to put your wires in there and run them right through. I mean, the cool thing is that you're going to be able to run it through the backside. So you're going to put your 24 pin that's going to be coming out of one of these holes, maybe the one that comes up to the motherboard up there, and most of these are going to be run on the backside anyway, because you're going to be putting your hard drives here or putting your hard drives here, and they're going to be plugging into this. So you're going to be hiding most of them. It's all going to be tucked away. Wouldn't be worried unless you're trying to use one of those monster power supplies. And so in the top half of the case, as you can see, it is recessed. So it's about a ½ inch lower than the top of the case. But they've got all the ports on the top. So you've got your on-off button, you've got your 3.0 USB, and then you've got your other USBs, and then you've got your audio in and out. And then you also have a reset button. Yeah, a reset button. How about that? It's kind of nice, to keep it out of the way, make sure you don't accidentally hit the buttons and stuff while you're doing that. But the other kind of cool thing is that they do have, let's see if I can get that out of there. They do have plugs. So all these have a plug in them, even the USB ports. So if you're not using them and you want to keep junk from falling down into them, or even just makes it look a little nicer, truthfully. You put the plugs back in and boom, you're done. If you know you're going to be using one quite often, you can leave it out, but just put it right back in. Remember that air intake I told you about that was on the bottom side of the case? It serves a second purpose. It's also a way that you can pull the front panel off. So if you have it standing up a little on the edge or however you want to do it, just grab it on the bottom, give it a little tug, and off it comes. And you're able to feed out all the cabling through there. It is a solid piece, as you can see. Actually, it's pretty heavy, truthfully. It's a lot heavier than I thought it would be. Again, the front side, again, where you can put another fan or you can put your radiator. It's already got the slots in there so you can adjust it. Great option on that side of it as well. You can put two devices in the drive bays, but of course you do only have one accessible spot. Yeah, let's think about that for a while. Oh, sorry, let's thinking about what I was going to have for dinner. Let's see if we can get the top off. So I've noticed that there is that same gap on the top, so let's see what we can do on that side of it. Boom! Yeah! Very solid. It's going to protect whatever you put up here. Like if you're going to be putting your radiator, we're going to put fans up on there. So let's take a look at the top. Again, it's raised up. So if you notice, it's raised. See this raised portion here? that's kind of a cool. The radiator is going to be fairly close to the top, so it's going to sit inside. It can sit on the inside of the railing. Yeah, that's kind of cool, right? Let's see what that is. The measurement on that is, yeah, 120 millimeter. So you can put 120 millimeter and at least a 240. All right, so there you have it, man. We've tore this thing completely apart. I would say for the GraceFun, Enermax has done a pretty dang good job with it. It's got a lot of great features. I do like that they recessed this, that you can put up to a 240 millimeter radiator set up in there. On the front side, you can put a 280 millimeter radiator. Hope you enjoyed watching me tear apart the Enermax GraceFun case. The only way to really get down to the nitty-gritty of a case is, tearing it apart and see what it's really made of. And we found all the options that this case has. Again, hope you enjoyed it, and thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please like it. Also subscribe to our channel. Check out some of these other videos.